Final hour overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Confirm or deny later this hour. Our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later this hour. A pair of Jerry Seinfeld tickets up at Rama. We'll be giving those away some point this hour, and A.J. Pierzynski will join us here in a few moments to tee up Jays Yankees tonight in the final week of the season for the Jays. And we might put the cart before the horse, start looking ahead to the playoffs as well. So we'll catch up with A.J. here. He knows what it's like to, chase down the playoffs, make the playoffs, go on a World Series run, win a World Series. So we'll catch up with him in a few moments. The Leafs are off tonight. They were in action the last couple of nights, and we had Mike Johnson on last hour. And Johnny was asking if the preseason matters for Ottawa. I don't believe it does. It's more so just about health and them getting to the starting line. I think the same thing applies with Toronto. I know it does with the Leafs. The Leafs, they don't care if they win or lose. Makes no difference. I'm curious if you guys think there's a Canadian team, though, in which the preseason does matter for them. Is there a team? I think Montreal's a young team. Honestly, after getting dummy 10-0, I think it matters now for Vancouver.
Yeah,
as crazy as that sounds, I think Vancouver's got to respond.
They need a little bit of a bounce back where it's like, okay, it's embarrassing, but it's like you can't start. Now, I'm sure they'll, their next outing, they will be fine, and they'll probably dress a little bit more appropriate lineup. But 10 Cobb is 10 Cobb. You got to bounce, and you're only as good as your last game, so you got to bounce back. And I know Tocchet said all the right things, and hey, now I know what Sean Payton feels like, blah blah blah. But it's, it probably wears on him. You know how competitive Talk is, so he's not.
10 Cobb is like it asks people. Like people start asking a few little questions behind the scenes, like, did you guys even prep for this game, or what the hell's going on here? But there is some positive, there's also some positive things you can see, like Jonathan Huberdeau ripping a couple goals home, seeing the puck go into the net, Nazem Kadri with a couple goals, backhand shelf, and by the way, all of it means nothing, Hayes. To say that the next game for Vancouver is important, they got to get their heads out of their asses and have a performance, but come the drop of the puck, that's all going to mean nothing. But positive signs and things happening for certain guys, you would like to think that that's a start of something better. But the Vancouver Canucks, that's just, I don't know. It might get people's attention and piss some people off, but it means squat.
Well, it does, but I guess in the marketplace, Vancouver's uneasy anyway. It has not been a good run,
people have a coffee and they chat are we really in for this again?
Right.
I don't think they are, but that's what the chat would be.
Yeah, I mean, they're 10-0 in an exhibition game is meaningless in the end. It doesn't factor into the projection of what's going to happen during the regular season. But they haven't made the playoffs in a while. And, they've had, we talked about Ottawa, disappointing starts. Vancouver's had some really disappointing starts. Really ugly starts where it gets off to, such a difficult position that you can't climb out of it, even if you do play well in the second half. And I think they're reasonable in Vancouver. I think they'd probably like to see that team compete for a playoff spot. I think that can happen. But I think they're also pretty scarred out there, and they're bracing for it to possibly go the other way.
Well, think of it. They went deep in the bubble, guys. They went.
Yeah, they did.
And Demko came on the scene, was standing in his head. That allowed them to move away from Markstrom because they kept Demko. It seemed like that team was turning a corner. And then it's been a couple poor seasons. You've had the coaching change. And, twice, I guess, Travis Green gets fired. Then it's Brucey Boudreau into Tocchet. You are looking for something there, a little bit of stability. So, yeah, I agree. I think Vancouver trying to still figure out what they are, right?
Yeah, and then individual players like you mentioned, Gabriel Velarde making his, Jets home debut, I believe it was, or I guess preseason debut. Stories like that are pretty interesting throughout the league, but we'll get more into that later this hour. Confirm or deny still to come. Jays-Yankees tonight. 6 more games to go. The Jays are in a very good spot. They win a couple of these games they're in. They win 3, they're definitely in. But I think probably 2 and 4 gets you there, but why not go 4 and 2? How about 5 and 1? If you go 5 and 1 or 6 and 0, you're probably going to the Trop too, right? In fact, you would be. You'd be the second wild card. You go down there and play Tampa. If they lose a couple and still get in, maybe it's against Minnesota. To chat about it, we're joined now by former MLBer, World Series champ himself, and a TV host with Foul Territory. He's back on OverDrive. Here's A.J. Pierzynski. How you doing, A.J.?
I'm doing good. Were you guys really talking hockey already? I mean,
Yeah, man.
The Jays are in it. Why are you guys worried about hockey? Let's go.
We're always worried about hockey. Don't you worry about that. We're always thinking about that. But we're feeling good about the Jays. I mean, listen, we've been saying for about a week now, ever since that Rangers sweep where they got skunked, like they got crushed by Texas. And I can tell you, man, the vibes up here were not good. It's been almost a 180. Like now the cart's going before the horse, and people are starting to really feel good about this Blue Jay team. Where's your head at with 6 games to go in the regular season?
Well, I think they're in. I think they should be. I mean, unless they go 0-6, I'd love their chances because the Rangers, the Mariners, the Astros, they all play each other down the stretch. So I think the Blue Jays are like they're 1.5 up, 2 in the loss column over the Astros, 3 over the Mariners. I mean, I think they're in. They're obviously not catching the Rays. That's already over with. So I think you can already go ahead and plan the Rays versus Jays, wild card series in Tampa because I think listen, you got Gausman going tonight against the Yankees team that's done for the year. I think they're in. I think you guys should feel happy about it. Now, can they win a series? I think that's a bigger question.
I'm not happy about it because I want to go to mini instead. How do we rig that, or is that getting selfish? You just gotta win as many as you can down the stretch and see what happens because every fan in Toronto was like, let's go to mini instead of Tampa because we hate it down there, AJ.
Understood, and Minnesota doesn't exactly have a great track record in the postseason, right? But listen, I think if you're a Blue Jay fan, you just want to get in, don't you? You don't really care who you play. Listen, you can run out the Jays lineup. I think they have a great chance against anybody, especially if you're able to make it so Gausman pitches game 1 and then however they maneuver it behind him. But Gausman's been really good for him, and nobody wants to go into a series thinking, all right, game 1 we're facing Kevin Gausman, and then the back end of the bullpen for the Jays, and then whoever else, however they want to line it up for the rest of the series. I mean, that's a tough series. Plus, with the way the Jays swing the bat, it's a tough out if I'm an American League team looking at, oh no, we got to play Toronto.
Well, and they just were down at the drop, and they took 2 out of 3, and Tampa was still in a position where they were chasing Baltimore down, right? And I guess technically they still are, but yeah, I mean, historically the drop has been troublesome for the Jays. Tampa's been troublesome for the Jays, but you just said it, AJ, almost from the counter perspective. If you're Tampa, you can end up with 98 wins, 99 wins, and you're going to get a team in Toronto that could be coming in feeling very good, that in the spring was anticipating winning 95, 97 games, and now they're relatively healthy. They got Brandon Belt coming off the IL tonight. Their staff is pretty much ready to rock, short of Manoah, but that's been the case basically all season the way he's been playing. And really Vladdy's starting to hit for power. Bo's been good. He looks like he's getting healthier day in, day out, and George Springer's coming alive. And that poses some problems for oppositions.
Listen, the lineup is good. I mean, with Brandon Belt, without Brandon Belt, that's a good lineup. And then if you go Gausman, Bassett, Barrios, whoever that third guy is, I mean, I'm assuming it would be Barrios, but the way Bassett's throwing the ball, the way Gausman's throwing the ball, and even, listen, Jose Barrios has taken a lot of heat, but, I mean, he's had a pretty solid year.
He has.
It's not like he's out there. I mean, it's not like he's out there and he's like, oh, he's 7-12 with a 5 ERA. I mean, he's pretty good. So those 3 lined up to face a team with a healthy back end of the bullpen for the Jays. You get Hicks and Romano and that whole crew coming out. I can't say that I want to face that if I'm an American League team. You get Vladdy going, you get Bichette going, you get all these guys, you get Springer going, running around, hitting homers, throwing up diving catches everywhere, Kiermaier out there. I think this is a dangerous team once they're in, and I think they're going to be in, and I think it's going to be a heck of a ride for them.
With A.J. Pierzynski. So you've been in this position before where you're getting in, even though they don't technically have the X beside their name. You feel pretty good about the statistics and the chances of the Jays getting in. So take us inside their clubhouse, in Toronto this week. What is the vibe like, and what is the preparation like, considering you got 3 against the Yankees and then 3 against Tampa, and then you're likely going to the playoffs?
Well, the interesting thing is that it's in they played Tampa right before they could play Tampa.
Right.
So how much do you show? How much do you say it comes down to like the second to last game or the last game of the year? How much you show? Because the Rays are in there. Are they going to throw their main bullpen guys and their main starters because you get one day off, and so they're just going to swap places, right? The Jays are just going to go from Toronto back to Tampa, and so I don't know how much you show, how much do you throw your guys. It's going to be an interesting situation for Schneider and even the Rays, Kevin Cash, because you don't want to show all your hands if that's the team you're going to play literally one day after you get done playing them for 3.
Yeah, it sets up interesting because, Tampa's 2.5 back at Baltimore. Baltimore's got 2 games against Washington, including tonight and tomorrow, and then a 4-pack against Boston at home to close. Like, it doesn't seem likely they trip over themselves, right? Like, if you're in Tampa or let's say they're a game back and they're playing the Jays this weekend, you would expect Tampa will floor it, though, right, AJ? I mean, that's a massive advantage to win the division and avoid the wild card game altogether or the wild card series altogether.
Well, there's one major problem with that everyone keeps – a lot of people are forgetting. The Orioles have the tiebreaker over the Rays. Mm-hmm. So even if they tie, Baltimore wins. So they're 3 games back in the loss right now, which is really 4 games back with 6 to play. I mean, it would have to be an absolute collapse by Baltimore. It hasn't shown any signs of doing that. I mean, they have their 3 starters lined up. Bradish, I think, Grayson Rodriguez tomorrow, and maybe Gibson the next day against Washington for these 2. If they win one of those games and they're 3 up with 4 to play, which is really 4 up with 4 to play, I mean, it's over. So Tampa theoretically could be eliminated from the division before they even get to the Jays. And then the question becomes, how much are they going to show their hands and use their matchups and do this to get, because basically it's a free scouting report for every player on the Blue Jays and the Rays if they do end up facing each other. Heck, didn't they just play the Rays? They just played the Rays in Tampa last weekend, right? So in the last 10 games, they played them 7 times, and then they're going to get them again. I mean, that's a lot of playing each other. Heck, I mean, you guys like hockey. There could be some fisticuffs because you play them too much.
That's what I'm wondering. You talk about setting a tone. Like, forget, setting up your playoff lineup necessarily or possibly adjusting your rotation. But I wonder if it gets a little bit spicy. That's something I'd be a proponent for. I'd love to see something like that build up towards, a series if it ends up being at the Trop. And, the Rays are one of those teams that they've dealt with some serious injuries and scandal this year. Let's call it what it is. This Wander Franco story is absurd, and McClanahan's been out. I can't say enough about this organization, though, AJ. You were a big leaguer for a long time. When you consider all the different things that go against Tampa, including their payroll and guys being traded away when they hit their primes, and the fact that no one shows up to ball games. I was watching the games this weekend at the Trop. This team's going to the playoffs. They're going to win like maybe 100 games. There's like 15 people in the building. If they just keep rocking.
Well, they're not the Blue Jays fans. Listen, the Blue Jays fans pack it out every night.
Oh, yeah,
I remember going there. I remember going there, and they were not very good, and it was still 30,000 in the stands every night. So props to the Toronto fans and the Blue Jay fans. The thing about Tampa is, I've said this, I've been saying this for a few years now, are they the best organization in sports? Because look at what they're dealt, the hand they're dealt with money restrictions, payroll constraints, the place they play, the amount of fans they draw. And what do? They compete in the AL East every year where you have Toronto, Boston, New York Yankees, and Baltimore. And 3 of those 5 spend a lot of money, right? So, and then you have Baltimore and the Rays. But the Rays since, 2008 have been consistent for the last 15 years, have been consistently in the postseason and made deep runs. So I have to think they deserve credit for, if not the best organization in sports, definitely high on the list because of what they do with less.
A team that doesn't go to the playoffs is the Angels. What do you make of the Trout situation? Apparently the organization went to him and said, if you want to go, we can look into it. And he, I guess, is claiming the offseason he's going to come back better than ever next year. It seems like that's happened often. Like, what should this guy do? Wouldn't his legacy be better off served maybe going somewhere else or trying to find a way to at least look into it, AJ?
Listen, I've been saying this for a while. He should do this quietly. And I don't know if the organization has come to him and said, hey, we're thinking about moving you. But if I'm Mike Trout, listen, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Newport Coast, California. It's not a terrible place to live. It's kind of nice.
It's awesome. It's
right
awesome.
on the ocean. Yeah, exactly. So, and he's making, I don't know, $35 million a year, $40 million a year to live out there. Yeah, it'd be great if he could do it. But what does a trade look like for Mike Trout? where does Mike Trout go? Who's going to eat that contract, and how much do the Angels have to pay to get him moved for a package that is worth what Mike Trout should be worth? There's just so many questions with this. And listen, I want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs.
Sure.
I want to see it. I mean, he's won 0 playoff games in his career, right? I mean, they had the 2 best players in the game, Ohtani, Trout, and couldn't make the postseason. They won't spend on pitching. They won't make the moves necessary to do it. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm in Mike Trout's situation, I'm like, listen, guys, I got all the money in the world. I just want a shot to play in the postseason. So, yeah, we can make it happen. But don't do it publicly. Do it privately. Go to Artie Moreno, sit down and say, look, y'all, I'm done. I've had a great run here. I put in my 13 years now, and we haven't done anything relative to getting me a ring. Can we make this happen? If they say no, maybe get a little louder and get it out to the public. But it's a bad situation for Mike because, honestly, you look at where they're at, they're not going to compete for the next few years either.
AJ, the Yanks are in town, and they're just – I mean, we've been just clubbed by the Yanks for years and years, and they're not those Yankees anymore. I know they've had a bunch of injuries, but do you think there's changes coming? Do you think Boone and company survive this season?
Well, I think Brett Boone, sorry, I'm thinking about his brother, Aaron Boone, survives, I think, because they've already kind of said that, and Brian Cashman definitely will be back. They have to make they have to make some changes because of the way baseball is played now. You guys watch the Jays play, right? It's exciting when you have all these athletic dudes running around making all these plays. You look at the Yankees, they're just a bunch of big young guys, Cabrera and even Austin Wells. But listen, they got to make some moves. They got to change and catch up with the times because you look at the Diamondbacks. They're running all over the place. These teams are exciting. The Yankees hit home runs and strike out.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description. I think we've seen it a lot this year, and I assume we'll see it a lot the next 3 nights. He is A.J. Preseason, former MLB catcher, World Series champ. You can catch him on Foul Territory TV. Great catching up with you, A.J. Enjoy the final week and into the playoffs.
Thanks, guys. I can't wait. And, if you guys get your wish and the Jays get the Twins and they win, there's a chance I could get to do some Toronto games
yes.
with Fox.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. Well, if you get up here, we'll catch up. We can't wait. Good luck with that. Thank you for this.
I'm going to hold you guys to. Maybe you guys, I want to do the Skywalk. You guys do the Skywalk with me?
Happily. Skywalk's legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary. You're talking the CN Tower Skywalk? Absolutely. We can get up there. No problem, man. No problem.
I figure if Buck Martinez can do it, I can do it, right?
That's right. Buck knows what he's doing. Buck will take care of you if need be. Thanks, AJ.
Thanks, guys.
AJ Preseason. Yeah, there's no way we're going up there. But
I'm not doing the Skywalk.
no chance. But we'll give him the yeah, absolutely. There's a little Monty, a little Colin Montgomery.
Wasn't AJ crusty as a player?
Oh yeah, he got in a lot of confrontations at the plate.
He seemed like he always, what did you say? Like he had an attitude, man.
Always pissed off. Like always had an attitude. Like blocking guys from, if there was a bat flip, he was he'd get home. I remember there was some emphatic like slaps of the home plate when he hit home runs or he came around. Like there was he was right in the middle of a lot of
he was like
stuff.
A bad boy of that team.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. When he was with the 05 Sox that won the World Series, like he was the Ricky Vaughn,
had an attitude,
so to speak. Yes, he had an attitude. He was very much like Lieutenant Dan, I guess, who had an attitude. All right, our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later this hour. Confirm or deny still to come as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Austin trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm or Deny brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. Right now, get lease rates as low as 3.3%. Multiple security deposits are required. Please visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all the details. All right, statements are made. We go around the table. We confirm them or we deny them. Let's get crazy right off the bat. All right, let's get crazy here. Confirm or deny Easton Cowan should be given a legit shot at making the team. A legit chance at making the team this year.
I am going to.
I'll let you two. I will let you two answer.
I
and
can
then
neither
will
confirm or
answer.
deny that.
I just want to say before I answer the question that in most situations, it's all situations better for the kid to go to junior.
Mm-hmm.
But I brought up that kid Wyatt Johnston last year. They probably didn't know or think that he was playing in the NHL. Sometimes you just leave the door open, and if the guy's good enough to play, there's no bin where you put your driver's license walking into an NHL dressing room. You either play or you can't play. So just let the kid play the rest of the preseason games and see what he's got. Leave it open. Hazy confirmed.
So that's a confirm. Okay. All right. Am I going now, Noodles? You're giving the floor to me?
Wow.
I'm going to confirm this as well. That doesn't mean he's going to make the team. No, the phrasing is important here.
By the way, guys, just a little tidbit. His nickname's Cowboy.
I love it. He's got a mullet. Listen, he plays with energy. But it's the statement is given a legit chance. Doesn't mean
confirm
that
I'm
he's going to make it. Yes, but
Hazy, everyone has there's some guys it's like, dude, you're going to the minors. You're here to play for the minors. But everyone, if you just play, you have a legit chance of somebody saying that guy deserves.
That's all it is. Now maybe the team philosophy is it doesn't matter, you're going back. And if that's the case, then it's already been determined, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. But for me, a team that, is up against the cap, that can factor in, but also, what kind of depth do they have once you get to 11, 12, 13, 14 forward? And making the team means you could go back 7 games in, 8 games in. If he's sitting out of the lineup, boom, see you later, you're gone. Yeah, I'll confirm that.
All right. Keep in mind, like the kid,
I've
been singing his praises.
Of course.
We're singing his praises.
Yes.
All we're asking for is a legitimate chance, Noodles.
And I'm denying it, and here's why. I believe, Brian, you just said, there's probably it's preconceived that the kid is going to go back to junior, what's best for his development at 18 years old. This is not a guy who was the 3rd overall pick, and they're force-feeding into the lineup like we've seen Kotkaniemi, Slavkovsky. We've seen other guys. This is a guy who was picked at 28 who, by all accounts is going to be a really good NHL player. Let him season. Give him the full preseason if you want. Give him a bunch of experience, but also give him the opportunity to grow in a great junior program, like you guys have pointed out.
Yes,
in London, Ontario. Yep. So I'm denying it. Where it doesn't matter if the kid he's the Brandon Perlini and leads the preseason with 8 goals. You put him where he can develop and he can be here for the whole meal, not a cup of coffee.
Okay. All right.
How about
reasonable.
this?
That's the way I feel.
Get 120 points in London and play in the NHL next year. Are we in business with that?
Well, yeah, obviously that'd be outstanding for his development and the Maple Leafs for that matter. Absolutely. All right, confirm or deny. Damian Lillard will show up to camp in Portland if he's not traded before it starts. Think this guy shows up in Portland?
I have a pre-question. If he doesn't, he doesn't get paid?
Yeah,
the
right?
team would suspend him, I guess, at that
I think
point.
he shows up. I think he shows up when you're talking about that kind of coin. I'm showing up. I'll be like, I tried to get traded. I didn't. They want to keep me here to be miserable. I'll be miserable, but I'll collect. I will collect.
Yep.
100% confirm.
Yeah, I'm confirming it too. Cash is king. You can have all the lip service you want, but when you start missing checks, they're reaching into your pocket, that's where you're like, okay, my stance is my stance, but I still want to get paid.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because you really got to commit one way or the other. If you're committing to just not showing up, then you kind of got to stay home for months, possibly, right? Like if you're going down that road where it's like, you got to understand, I'm never playing again. But generally, I'm going to confirm this as well because generally the playbook, and James Harden has written it, he's got a full trilogy out. You show up, you sabotage, right?
Yes.
You show up and you sabotage. In order to sabotage, you got to be right there in the trenches. And I don't get the impression that Dame's a bad guy, wants to do that. I think he's got a lot of love for Portland, the Trailblazers, and all that kind of stuff. I don't think he wanted it to go this long, but it is. It is going this long. And camps open up, in less than a week. All right, confirm or deny, Sean Payton will still be the coach of the Broncos in 3 years.
No, to totally deny that. And it would be his choice. He didn't sign up for some gong show. He's the guy that goes in and is the closer and says, we're not garbage anymore. We're going to be good. He's not going to deal with no – how long a contract did the guy sign?
I'm sure
3-year
it was
deal?
It had to be probably 4 or 5 year deal. They gave up assets to get him. He's Sean Payton. They paid him. They're paying him a fortune. I'm confirming this because of the money. You know, you can make a lot of money and go back and work for Fox. He's made a lot of money in his career. You know, if he did leave New Orleans, right? That's why they had to acquire him technically, because he stepped away from New Orleans, and New Orleans was like, well, you're still under contract here. So he is prone to doing that.
You know how long a struggling franchise, like they're 100-year seasons. Mm-hmm. Like if they're garbage throughout the whole year and they don't turn it around this year, and that turns into another year where they maybe get rid of Russ and they're garbage again, it's like a lifetime wrapped up in 3 seasons where he could just say, I'm denying this totally.
I'm denying it too because I think his ego is too big. I think and also it might be a situation if there's a tire fire for 2 or 3 years in a row, they might find a way to give him the John Gruden treatment.
Yeah.
They might, they might find a way to go,
You think after those comments for our boy Nate Hackett that he wants to hitch his wagon to a dumpster fire rolling down the street? No way.
No, but you would think his ego can go both ways. It can deploy a shoot, or it can basically say, I'm going down because I'm going to prove I'm better than this, and I can win because I'm the great Sean Payton, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Like, we're 3 games in and we're actually disputing this. That's how bad it is in Denver.
Yeah.
That's how embarrassing it is.
Well, yeah, they just had 70 put up on them.
Yeah, and Nathaniel Hackett, it's not much better. Like, what kind of offensive playbook does the Hack have for Zach Wilson? Not exactly a Picasso out in New York either. That's what now Hackett's around and Rodgers isn't even there. I wonder if Salah's like, dude, can you just leave me alone? I do not need to see you either. Confirm or deny, the Blue Jays will be a heavy favorite if they play Minnesota in the wild card. Heavy favorite.
I don't think when you're going to a visiting team's ballpark, you're going to be a heavy favorite regardless. It's amazing how this team, and I'm not even talking about Toronto Scribes or our show or any other show, like people are talking about this team in a different fashion than I've never seen a turnaround like it. There's pieces about a path to the World Series. And everyone else is believing too. They love Gausman. You get Barrios, you get Bassett. It's like, who the hell? Nobody wants to play the Jays. It's almost like, let's get this thing cooking. But being a favorite, I don't know. You're going into a visiting team's park. They still are the team that played the whole season and have had the rocky road and the ups and downs. So I'm denying that they would be a favorite in Mini.
And you're only as good as your last playoff game where it was 8-1.
Ooh, that is accurate.
Some of those guys still have to wear that stain, right? So
Yep.
I would say they could be favored, but I'm denying heavily favored just based on inconsistency this season. And, again, what I just mentioned, it was 8-1.
Yeah, I'm going to deny it as well because another part of this is if they end up playing Mini now, that probably means they stub their toe this final week, right? So it's another thing. It's like, what kind of mojo are you going to have if you're in a situation here where they are statistically favored to play Tampa and have that second wild card? If you effectively, backdoor your way in, plus that means everything's going to come back alive about how inconsistent they are. They're not clutch. They don't have that clutch gene to close the door when it was necessary the final week of the season. All that will go against them in terms of the odds. And, yes, Minnesota's not great, but they're still a good team, and they're at home. A good team at home in baseball, 3-game series, you're not going to see a heavy favorite. That doesn't mean it's going to flip the other way. Minnesota will not be. More than likely going to be closer to a pick-em than anything else. But Jays will not be a heavy favorite. Confirm or deny, Austin Matthews will turn into an elite full-time penalty killer.
Elite full-time penalty killer. I'm going to deny it because I don't think he's out there to be an elite penalty killer. I think it's kind of a part-time assignment. Just like last night, you saw that with 30 seconds left in the period. He got a 2-on-1 and was almost changing the game with a big-time goal. But I don't know if he's going to move into what Mitch is doing, where it's like first guy out on the penalty kill, and he might get 2 or 3 cracks at it to like kill the penalty. I'm not sure if that's the desired effect with Austin Matthews.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I agree. I deny it as well. I'm not convinced he gets, if they have 5 minutes on the penalty kill, he's getting like 3.5 of it. I think he will kill penalties, but define to me how much he will. Like he might be on a second unit. He might be on near the end of it. Like I don't know if it's literally Mitch and Austin first guy over the boards the minute that there's a kill based on the 5-on-5. I'm also going on based on the 5-on-5. Sheldon was very careful with his words, but he also said like he hasn't killed penalties because we focus on the 5-on-5 and his production. So they're going to have to balance that, and that's still a balancing act moving forward. So I don't think he'll be the primary guy, but I do believe he'll kill penalties.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm this because I think he is going to kill penalties. I think that's been announced. I think he's committed to it. I think he understands it, and I think he's such a smart player. A lot of being an elite penalty killer is about having an IQ for it, and it doesn't necessarily mean. And I think you guys are onto something. I don't think he's going to throw him over the boards all the time. Is he going to kill 5-on-3 penalties? I doubt it. Although, if he's 60% on the draw, he might, because then usually it's about who can win a draw. That's how you basically draw up the beginning of a 5-on-3. But I think if he's given the opportunity, he will excel, right? I would say that about McKinnon. I'd say that about McDavid. I'd say that about Draisaitl.
Right.
And I think Matthews deserves that type of credit too. He's just a really, really smart player. And yes, he doesn't have a ton of history doing it, but if they're going to grant him that future, I think he'll find a way to be very impactful at it. So I'll confirm it. Confirm or deny, final one here. Justin Thomas, your boy, will supply at least 2.5 points for the USA at the Ryder Cup.
Scotty Vales, be mad at me for saying this, but I 100% confirm it. 100%.
Wow.
Because he is a Ryder Cup machine, and I will bet you $5,000 the U.S. becomes victorious on Sunday.
You got them beating Europe? Well, listen, they are.
Do you accept?
Yeah, I will accept that. Here's my concern, because we just saw it with the Solheim Cup. The Americans, to retain the Ryder Cup, they only need 14. Europe needs 14.5. Right, that little half, very concerning. Right, the women, the Americans, they had a chance, and they ended up tying 14-14. So Europe.
By the way, a little side note on the Solheim: Lexi Thompson was 3-0-1, but all people could talk about was her 2 bad shots. Shame on you.
Right, shame on. They were horrible shots, but you're
Dude,
right.
I get it. She was 3-0-1. How about the people that
she won
choked
her
away
own
the
match.
Solheim? Yeah.
She won her own match.
Talk about
to
the
close
other
it.
people. Nelly Korda lost right in front of her. Why don't you
Nelly's
talk about
putts were terrible all week. She was terrible.
But all they could say was, Lexi, you just
Yeah.
you chunked that chip. What happened?
Right. Well, though,
like,
it was a totally reasonable question to ask her. Like, hey, take us through that, because the one chip that she hit was one of the worst chips we've seen a professional
dude,
hit.
I totally get it. She
horrendous on
putts
18.
like she doesn't even know where the hole is. But at the end of the day, she was 3-0-1.
Yeah, she was. Yep.
And all they were talking about was the putt, and it was kind of some goofy stuff. But 3-0-1.
3-on-1, and she's an American golfing legend, right? Like, that's what she is. They all love her. She's basically the leader of that team. She is the leader of that team. But I'm going to deny this in terms of Thomas 2.5. Now, I think Fred Couples said, Freddie's popping off, man. Freddie can't wait to talk about different things. And then,
loves it.
Zach Johnson's like, Fred, can you just pipe down a little bit, please? But everyone knows it's going to be Schauffele and Cantlay, and it's going to be Spieth and Thomas. And Freddie, I guess, said those two teams are going out for all 4, right? So, in other words, Thomas is going to have the opportunity to bring home 5 points in some capacity. I'm taking the under. All day the under. The way
I'm taking the over.
No.
I'm taking the over. I
the
think
Americans
he can find
puke
his
in
game.
Europe. They stink in Europe. They always do.
Dude, you have
not Whistling Straits anymore.
You have a short memory to what happened at Whistling Straits.
It's not Whistling Straits.
They dummied them over there.
It doesn't
Rory
matter.
McIlroy and Shane Lowry were crying.
It doesn't matter. That's in Wisconsin, dude. They're in Rome now. All right, they're in the Tuscan countryside, I think, or they're close to Tuscany.
Oh, really? Do you think the Italian crowd is really going to freak out the Americans?
They will, because the Italians will be going nuts, but it's not only them. The English will be down there. The Spanish will be down there. The French, the Irish. Yeah, you know Europe, they travel. For a situation like this and to team up and root against the Americans.
Now you're looking at a European map. You're telling me that who's going to be down there to fly in?
That's right. The Norwegians, they'll be there representing our boy
working
Rick
the crowd.
Hoffman.
You're working the crowd. I believe in JT. I'm over 2.5.
I will say one thing.
You're crazy.
Any combination of Rahm, Adberg, McIlroy, who's the guy that won?
Rick
the FedEx?
Hovland.
Ricky Hovland. Like that 4-pack.
I'll give you a fifth. I'll give you a fifth who's been great since he said to me on 6th green at Oakdale golf shot. Tommy Fleetwood's been outstanding. Fleetwood's been a top 10 player in the world for the last 3 months. The golf
because
shot.
Of you.
6th
You
green.
think Tommy Fleetwood's going to scare people at the Ryder Cup?
If he plays the way he was playing down the stretch, the guy was a stud.
What does it mostly come down to? Who makes the most what at the Ryder Cup?
Putts? Is that what you're saying? Putts?
Yes.
Tommy Fleetwood doesn't exactly roll
the rock. He can roll the. JT doesn't either. Thomas stinks on the greens. Thomas doesn't roll putts well, so there goes your whole case for him going 5-0. I'm not worried about Tommy Fleetwood. Golf
I just
shot.
need 2.5 points. 2.5 points from JT. That's what I'm leaning into.
Tommy Fleetwood is a stud. Shane Lowry, your boy. That's your doppelganger, Shane Lowry. Just two good Irish boys. Maybe
Buddy,
that was
Tommy
the guy
Fleetwood played 9 holes with you and didn't even acknowledge you were alive.
That's
Okay?
not true.
Yeah, it is.
He saw me almost chisel in a 60-degree out of deep rough behind the green, 6th green at Oakdale. I missed the birdie chip by an inch, tapped in putt for par, and he said golf shot as the ball was in the air. Spinning, a TP5. He plays TaylorMade. He's looking at
I know he does,
at
but he
like,
didn't
that's
say.
That's a TaylorMade TP5. I said, that's right.
He didn't say golf shot.
He said golf shot, and he said it loudly. There were people in the crowds, like they were enamored by the idea that Tommy Fleetwood was complimenting my short game at Oakdale.
Wow.
Golf shot.
There was a buzz. There was a buzz about your game.
It was a legitimately like high class short game.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Exactly. That is
Confirm
what
it tonight. Brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. Right now, get lease rates as low as 3.3%. Multiple security deposits are required. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all of the details. All right.
I got a concern.
Yeah, what do you got?
Slight concern, guys.
What do you got?
I thought I just saw on Jennifer Hedger's Instagram that she's at the baseball game.
Hedges not going to the ball game.
Oh,
Hedges at the Dome.
I
That's
just
sickening.
saw this.
You got to pass along the assignment.
That's sickening, Hedge.
I might have just laid eyes on that. I'm not sure.
Let me look.
I swear to God, if they lose 403, I want her on tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, I've seen Hedge posting a picture. Game day fit. Yeah, she posted.
Yeah, I'm concerned she's in the building, which is she's 0-4.
4:03 p.m. 4:03 p.m.
Yeah, she was there for the whole series against Texas.
Yeah,
she was.
She was there walking around amongst the Jays.
Dude, I know. She was beside herself talking to Scotty, Mitch, and Keegan after the games.
I know.
Yeah,
she put a hex on the Jays last time she was down there.
Yeah, I am concerned that she's in the building. So we'll see how that unfolds.
That is confirmed. I'm looking at it right now. Hedge is in the house. All right. Comedy icon Jerry Seinfeld will be performing live May 10th at Casino Rama. Here's your chance to win a pair of tickets to the show. 416-870-1050. That is the number. Caller 8 at 416-870-1050. Caller 8 at 416-870-1050. You're picking up a pair of tickets to go see Jerry Seinfeld up at Rama. We love it. Ticket pre-sales start tomorrow at 12 p.m. On sale starts Friday at 12 p.m. at Ticketmaster.ca. Ticketmaster.ca to see comedian Jerry Seinfeld. Icon. Jerry Seinfeld up at Casino Rama. So there you go. Caller 8 right now, 416-870-1050. Come back with our best bets, tee up Jays Rangers or Jays Yankees one more time. See, Hedge being there, it's giving me flashbacks. Jays Rangers, it's really messing with me right now. I don't like it at all. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We like the Jays' money line tonight. Gosman over 7.5 strikeouts tonight. Rays' money line against the Red Sox tonight. So we're looking at the teams that are competing. Yankees are not. Sox are not. Jays want to win. Rays want to win. And I think Gosman, which could possibly be his final start of the regular season, right? He's scheduled to go today and Sunday. But if they punch their ticket and they're in, he's not going to pitch on Sunday. They'll set up the rotation for game one of the wild card. So we like Gosman to go off tonight. Jays money line, Rays money line tonight, paying plus 33 parlayed. Today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. The first inning means as much as the ninth when you bet baseball on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. Must be 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. All right. So we're into week 3 of the NFL. Ryder Cup this week. Jays finale. Probably going to the playoffs. Leafs are playing. Raptors are going to be showing up soon. Argos are on fire. Argos aren't even starting Chad Kelly. They're like, screw it, man. Just take a night off. We don't even. It's all good. The Argos are the best team in Canadian Football League.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you're telling me the Jays are in? Because I get freaked out when people start talking like that.
They need to be 3-3.
3-3, and they're 100% in and going to Tampa. Like, that's a lock. They go 3-3 this week. They're in, and they're playing Tampa in the wild card.
2-4 to Mini?
I think 2-4 likely still goes Tampa. I think 1-5 could be Mini, but then you're really – it's getting dicey.
Well, dude.
2-4 could do Mini, but I don't know.
Win tonight, and then just
mail
it. Mail it.
Yeah, possibly.
That's always a bad omen, though, man.
That's
as
the
much
thing,
as,
man.
You want to go to Mini, but God, you got a pissed off Mini team knowing that you tanked to play them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with any of that stuff.
No way.
And the Jays had that in the late 80s where they lost, what did they lose, 7 in a row down the stretch to miss? Like, they were in. It was over, and they just completely fell apart. You can't have that type of mojo. It was a complete 18-wheeler. Yeah. Yes, you just win ball games, be healthy, feel good, and whoever you're going to play is who you're going to play. And if it's Tampa, so be it. It's Mini, so be it.
Yeah.
Right?
You guys in the break where you guys were talking about A.J. Pierzynski having an attitude, so I just Googled him. The first thing that came up says A.J. Pierzynski barrels Michael Barrett, then gets punched in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's literally unbelievable. This guy had an attitude.
He was always in a bad mood. Like, consistently had the blonde mullet.
I love it.
Always angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good player though, man. That was the Ozzie Guillen White Sox, right? They had Mark Burley on the mound. They were a good team. Obviously, they won a World Series.
Yeah.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious what it's going to be like, at the Dome tonight, or at the City this week with a lot going on.
People show up tonight?
Yeah, I would expect so. Right? I would think so. The Jays are in a good spot, and it's the Yankees in town. The Yankees sell. Like, these tickets would have been sold last winter.
Dude, who cares?
Probably,
the series of the century was against Texas, and no one was there.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah,
Well, look
true.
at the Leaf game last night. That wasn't even close to sold out. It looked like there were 8,000 people there last night.
Yeah, it was
like
thin. It was
very
thinner.
thin. And it doesn't matter. It's a preseason game. I didn't recall them selling out preseason games. I think they might on the weekend because you want to get kids in there. That's a lot of it too, right? Preseason, it's like get younger kids in, get people in there that don't generally get a chance to go. And a Monday night for a preseason game can be a very difficult sell. When they play weekend games, which they will.
But, dude, I said it yesterday. I thought it's a great opportunity for someone that, like, wouldn't you just want to hand your tickets to your neighbor or something as opposed to just not going?
Like, ideally.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, ideally.
I'm not going. Go ahead, use them. I thought it would be full.
Yeah, I don't know how it works with preseason tickets in terms of like ticket holders and stuff. I'm not sure the ticket holders get those seats, or I think they can decline them. I think they can sit there and say we don't want them, so we're not paying for them, and then the team tries to sell them from there. But listen, when they play the home opener, which is, 2 weeks tomorrow?
They'll be
against
full.
Montreal, it'll be a packed house. Yeah,
Yep.
It will most certainly be a packed house. All right, tomorrow we got to do some Ryder Cup picks, which we'll do. We'll figure that out. I don't know. Maybe
I'm
Jerry
getting up.
tomorrow.
I'm getting up.
You're getting up at 1:30. I'm not.
Yep.
I'm not getting up at 1:30. There's no chance. But by the time you get up, they'll be doing the afternoon session or close to it. Either wrapping up the morning session. They quit. They turn around the afternoon quick.
Yeah,
at the
you're
Ryder
right.
Cup, because the sun goes down obviously earlier in the fall. So the
Yeah.
afternoon session, that's where I think we're going to have to basically make our bones here with the Ryder Cup. But it's all good. We'll have picks on that and full breakdown of the Jays Game 1 against the Yankees tonight. Thanks to everyone from behind the scenes. We appreciate it. All your help today. Everyone for tuning in today. Radio, TV, podcast, web. We appreciate that as well. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
Easton Cowan. Welcome to Toronto. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.